After a long moment, Orion exhaled softly, his eyes clear with resolve. He spoke quietly to Lumi. Perhaps you're right, Lumi. Grandpa and Grandma deserve my full honesty. They've done so much for me already. Yes, Master. Lumi gently agreed, her voice filled with budding excitement for seeing how Eldrick and Selene will react to this knowledge. Hee, it hasn't even been a day and you are about to drop a bigger bomb on them, Master. Greater than over equal to 4 all less than over equal to. Orion lightly shook his head at Lumi's playful comment, smiling inwardly despite himself as he made his way through the quiet halls of the mansion toward Eldrick's study. The warm evening sunlight filtered gently through the large, elegantly arched windows, casting long shadows along the corridor. Upon reaching the study, Orion paused briefly at the ornate wooden door, took a deep breath, and knocked gently. From within, Eldrick's deep voice called out softly, "Come in." Pushing open the door, Orion stepped inside, his eyes finding Eldrick seated calmly behind a large desk, filled with neatly arranged documents and scrolls. Eldrick looked up from his reading, eyes softening into a warm, welcoming smile. "Orion, finished your training already? How did it go with your friends?" Eldrick asked gently, setting aside his papers and giving his full attention. "It went smoothly, Grandpa," Orion replied with a small smile. "Honestly, it was more fun than I had expected. I also gauged everyone's level." Eldrick nodded thoughtfully, a faint smile lingering. However, his expression soon grew subtly serious as he carefully met Orion's gaze. His tone remained gentle yet carried a hint of concern. "Orion, about telling your friends of your dragon lineage, I'm still uncertain if that was wise." Orion's expression remained calm, his dual-colored eyes clear yet contemplative. "I know, Grandpa. But I made this decision after careful thinking. I also needed to see whom among my club members I could truly trust and who might bear hidden intentions. Better to reveal it early and identify any potential backstabbers before they grow too dangerous." Eldrick thoughtfully nodded his head. "That's good as well. You can never fully trust nobles' kids." He paused, noticing Orion's slightly troubled expression. "Now, is there something else you came here to discuss, lad?" Orion hesitated for a brief moment, his heart tightening in slight anxiety, before finally gathering his resolve. "Could you ask Grandma to come here as well? I'd like to speak with both of you together." Eldrick's brows furrowed slightly, quickly recognizing Orion's serious demeanor. Without further questioning, he reached into his robe and took out a small communication token. With a brief pulse of mana, he sent a message. "Selene, Orion needs to speak with us urgently. Could you come to the study?" Not long after, hurried footsteps echoed loudly in the hallway outside, followed immediately by a loud crash. The heavy wooden door burst open dramatically, hinges creaking in protest as Selene swiftly entered the room with an excited smile. Eldrick's lips twitched helplessly, observing the now broken door. "Orion, my dear, is everything all right?" Selene asked warmly, entirely disregarding the damage she'd just caused. She swiftly moved to Orion's side, gently placing her hand on his shoulder, eyes filled with motherly concern and curiosity. Eldrick shook his head slightly, sighing softly. "Selene, please. Orion has something important he wants to tell us." Hearing Eldrick's serious tone, Selene's expression quickly shifted into calm attentiveness. "Of course. What is it, dear?" Orion took a deep, calming breath, his heart pounding slightly as he prepared to reveal the deepest secret he'd carried since arriving in this world. His voice remained steady, gentle, and honest as he began to recount his previous life. "Grandma, Grandpa," Orion began softly yet clearly, "there's something important you should know about me. This isn't my first life. I was reincarnated into this world." Both Eldrick and Selene's eyes widened in shock hearing this revelation. After all, they had only ever heard stories about people reincarnating but never met anyone like this. But neither of them interrupted, recognizing Orion's need to fully explain himself. He carefully continued, his voice gentle yet resolute, describing his former existence in detail. "In my previous life, I was a normal young man living an ordinary life in a world devoid of any mana or cultivation. Everyone there was completely ordinary, without powers or special abilities. I lived quietly, finding joy in simple, everyday pleasures. But I died young, and before I could fully comprehend it, a mysterious entity appeared before my soul. This entity granted me a second chance, a reincarnation, and bestowed upon me several treasures, including the fire and thunder dragon bloodlines, before sending me to this world. Orion paused briefly, letting his words sink in. Eldrick and Selene exchanged a meaningful glance, their expressions filled with astonishment and curiosity, but no suspicion or doubt. Finally, Eldrick spoke softly, his voice heavy with curiosity. A world entirely without power. How fascinating. How did such a place function? Orion lightly smiled, thoughtful and nostalgic, as he replied, it was quite peaceful. Most people lived ordinary lives, finding joy and happiness in small things. Everyone treated each other relatively equally, without significant hierarchies based on strength. Eldrick chuckled softly, shaking his head knowingly. Orion, as long as intelligent beings exist, differences inevitably emerge. Even without cultivation or magic, people will always find ways to establish hierarchies. I imagine that in your powerless world, wealth and resources defined power instead. Orion paused, thinking carefully about Eldrick's words. Indeed, recalling his old life, he remembered that those with money and influence had often been at the top, shaping society. He sighed softly, helplessly acknowledging Eldrick's insight. Yes, perhaps that was truly the case. I never considered it deeply at the time, as that world's higher levels were always far beyond my ordinary reach. Selene smiled gently, reaching out to softly pat Orion's head affectionately, her eyes filled with unconditional warmth. But now, Orion, you're here, in this world, where you hold incredible potential. Don't dwell too deeply upon your past. Instead, focus ahead, toward the future you can now build. Eldrick nodded in agreement, adding softly, you have our full support, Orion. Your origins, past life, or the secrets you carry, none of it changes our love and belief in you. As long as you aren't a demon. Orion chuckled at his last comment, but their unwavering support truly warmed his heart. Still, a hint of surprise lingered at how quickly and unconditionally Eldrick and Selene accepted his incredible revelation. Orion voiced his quiet astonishment softly, thank you both, but I must admit, I didn't expect you to accept my reincarnation so easily. Eldrick smiled softly, his aged eyes holding deep wisdom and understanding. Orion, we've traveled widely and heard many tales of worlds far beyond our understanding. Higher realms and unknown existences surely exist beyond our small reality. What you described isn't entirely outside our realm of belief. Selene chuckled softly, gently squeezing Orion's shoulder. Besides, my dear, after accepting that our precious grandson is part true dragon, hearing you're a reincarnated soul feels less shocking. Orion couldn't help but laugh softly, deeply touched and relieved by his grandparents' warm acceptance. The last remaining tension finally dissipated, leaving only calm affection and warmth filling the room. Grandpa, Grandma, thank you, Orion said sincerely, his heart lighter than ever. But there is one more thing I want to tell you. This time both Selene and Eldrick's lips twitched. Do you want to kill us with shocks, lad? Eldrick dryly asked. Selene quickly nodded in full agreement with Eldrick's words, placing a hand gently over her heart as she feigned distress, though her smile betrayed her playful intent. Truly, my dear, you have been giving us non-stop shocks ever since you woke up. If you keep this up, you'll age us even more. Orion couldn't help but chuckle, quickly shaking his head in playful defense. Grandma, Grandpa, don't worry, it's not another shocking revelation about my origin or lineage. His smile softened into seriousness, though his eyes retained warmth and excitement. This is related to one of the treasures given to me by that mysterious entity. Instantly, Eldrick and Selene's expressions shifted, their curiosity clearly piqued. Eldrick leaned forward, eyebrows raised in genuine interest. What kind of treasure? Orion paused thoughtfully, carefully considering how best to explain the concept of a gotcha system, something entirely foreign to this world. After a brief moment, he began slowly and clearly, ensuring they understood each detail. It's a rather unusual treasure known as the gacha system. Essentially, by spending 10 high-grade mana crystals, it allows me to perform one random draw. Each draw grants me a treasure or item whose value can range anywhere from Tier 1 to beyond Tier 9. Orion explained, closely watching their reactions as he continued. This is also the primary reason behind why I opened Limitless Haven's shop. Eldrick and Selene exchanged a silent glance, eyes widening significantly as they realized the magnitude of Orion's revelation. Selene's expression shifted from playful amusement to serious astonishment as she leaned closer. Orion, this treasure of yours, it's practically an inexhaustible money-generating tool if used correctly. Eldrick slowly exhaled in amazement, his voice carefully steady despite clear excitement. Indeed, something of this nature could entirely shift the balance of economic power within the continent. What exactly are your plans for utilizing it? Orion nodded firmly, his voice filled with quiet confidence. I plan to continuously grow Limitless Haven, transforming it from a mere popular shop into a massive continental business. With the endless supply of unique treasures and items from the gacha system, Limitless Haven's growth potential is immense. Pausing slightly, Orion met both their gazes steadily, sincerity and slight worry showing clearly in his dual-colored eyes. But I need your help, Grandma, Grandpa. If other noble houses or even the royal house find out the shop's treasures originate solely from me, things might get a little complicated. So, I'd like your support to slowly spread the rumors that the one supplying treasures to the house are you too. That way, the shop won't attract unwanted suspicion or hostility toward myself. Selene lightly chuckled. So you want us to become your scapegoat, huh? Orion lightly smiled and nodded. Without hesitation, Eldrick nodded decisively. His voice carried unwavering resolve as he affirmed, consider it done, lad. That's an intelligent move, and we'll fully support your efforts. Selene's expression softened warmly, her voice gentle yet filled with certainty. Yes, we'll do whatever it takes to protect you and your vision for Limitless Haven. Gratitude filled Orion's chest, and he smiled openly, deeply relieved and touched by their support. The trio continued chatting quietly, sharing further ideas and plans for how best to develop the business, ensuring Orion's vision would thrive safely and successfully. However, as their discussion flowed comfortably, Orion briefly considered revealing the existence of Lumi and the broader Limitless system. But just as he pondered this idea, an unsettling, ominous sensation suddenly washed over him, his instincts screaming caution. Orion's brows furrowed subtly as he inwardly listened carefully to this sudden, intense gut feeling. Perhaps now isn't the right time to reveal everything, Orion inwardly thought, swiftly discarding the idea. Trusting his intuition, he decided to remain silent about Lumi and the full extent of his system for now. As their pleasant discussion slowly concluded, Orion stood from his seat, preparing to leave Eldrick's study. Just as he reached the door, Eldrick suddenly called out, tossing a small object swiftly toward Orion. Reacting instinctively, Orion easily caught the item, quickly recognizing it as a storage ring. Confusion filled his eyes as he turned back toward Eldrick, his voice carrying curious uncertainty. Grandpa, what is this? Eldrick chuckled softly, reclining comfortably in his chair with an amused, knowing smile. Why don't you look inside for yourself, lad? Intrigued, Orion carefully extended his consciousness into the ring, immediately stunned by what he discovered within. Massive piles of high-grade mana crystals filled his view, their gentle radiance illuminating the inner space brilliantly. Counting swiftly, Orion realized the total was around an astonishing 100,000 crystals. His eyes widened significantly as he stared at Eldrick in genuine shock and disbelief. Grandpa, how did you obtain so many mana crystals? Eldrick softly laughed, his eyes twinkling playfully yet with subtle pride as he explained lightly, Brat, if one were to live as long as I have and still couldn't gather at least this much wealth, he should just end himself in embarrassment. At that moment, Selene's amused laughter rang gently through the room, drawing both Orion and Eldrick's attention. Her voice carried playful teasing as she chuckled softly, Dear, this isn't even considered that much. If you ever need more, just ask me. I'm easily tens of times wealthier than this stingy old man here. Eldric's previously proud smile immediately froze, his expression turning comically stiff as he glared indignantly at Selene. He quickly shot back defensively, "You're a damn runesmith, woman. Of course you're richer. Everything I possess was painstakingly accumulated with my own blood and sweat." Orion watched in mild amusement as Eldric and Selene swiftly fell into playful bickering, each attempting to outdo the other with exaggerated claims of wealth and hard work. Shaking his head gently, Orion finally interrupted their teasing argument with a heartfelt smile. "Grandma, Grandpa, thank you both, truly. Your support means the world to me," Orion said warmly, sincere gratitude clear in his voice. Their playful argument ceased immediately, Eldric and Selene's expressions softening with deep warmth and pride. Selene gently squeezed Orion's shoulder affectionately, her voice soft and full of love. "You never need to thank us. It's our greatest joy to support you." Eldric nodded quietly, his voice equally tender. "Yes, lad. Remember, we're always here for you, no matter what." Orion gave them a final, appreciative smile before stepping out of the study, his heart lighter and filled with excitement. Walking back towards his room, his footsteps echoed softly in the grand corridor, illuminated gently by the warm golden glow of ornate mana lamps hanging along the walls. The evening air felt cool yet comforting, filled with a faint floral fragrance drifting in from the mansion's gardens. His heart felt unusually light, excitement surging through him as his thoughts replayed the incredible gift he'd just received. He inwardly sighed with mixed amusement and mild regret. "Fuck, I really should have told them everything sooner. Who would have expected Grandpa to casually toss me a fortune like that?" Lumi softly chuckled in response, her voice filled with playful wisdom. "But Master, it might not have had nearly this much impact or effectiveness if you'd revealed it all too early. The timing was perfect, I'd say." Orion nodded thoughtfully, his lips curling into a faint smile as he continued his leisurely pace toward his room. "You have a good point," he inwardly admitted, acknowledging her insight. "Sometimes, timing really is everything." Reaching his room, Orion gently pushed open the heavy wooden door and stepped inside. His eyes instinctively swept across the familiar, comforting space. At the center rested a neatly arranged meditation mat, simple yet practical. Near the window stood a small wooden table and chair, placed deliberately so Orion could gaze into the tranquil garden while working or contemplating. Opposite that, a large wardrobe stood quietly beside an elegant dressing table, its smooth surface polished to a reflective sheen, a mirror glinting gently atop it. Feeling a sense of quiet contentment, Orion walked slowly toward his bed, sinking comfortably into its plush embrace. He stretched slightly before settling himself, his dual-colored eyes flickering excitedly toward the ring held securely between his fingers. With the fortune Eldric had casually bestowed upon him, countless opportunities and possibilities now danced vividly before his mind's eye. Grinning openly now, Orion issued a silent mental command with unmistakable excitement, "Lumi, convert half of these mana crystals directly into SP." Lumi's excitement echoed immediately in his consciousness, her response bubbly with enthusiasm. "Right away, Master. Greater than over equal to less than over equal to." Instantly, Orion sensed half of the mana crystals vanish smoothly from the storage ring, drawn seamlessly into the Limitless system. He watched intently as Lumi's screen flashed brightly, numbers rapidly counting upward before finally stabilizing at a remarkable total. 55,000 SP. Orion's eyes immediately widened in astonishment and delight at the unexpectedly high final value. His heart surged joyously as he exclaimed inwardly, "Lumi, the quality of Grandpa's mana crystals is quite high." Lumi giggled cheerfully, clearly sharing his excitement. "Indeed, Master. Grandpa Eldric's collection truly lives up to his reputation." Orion leaned back comfortably on his bed, chuckling joyfully as he gazed up at the room's softly illuminated ceiling. "Haha, finally! I no longer have to live the miserable existence of a poor beggar. Now we can truly explore the system without holding back." Lumi quickly joined in, her voice practically sparkling with excitement. "Exactly, Master. So, is it finally gambling time?" Greater than over equal to less than over equal to. Orion grinned broadly, nodding decisively, his voice tinged with playful enthusiasm. Yes, Lumi, it's time. Go ahead and start the draws. Instantly, an upbeat, dramatic gotcha background music began energetically playing in his mind, courtesy of Lumi's eager preparations. Just as Lumi excitedly prepared to roll the first draw, Orion abruptly raised a hand, stopping her gently yet firmly. Wait, Lumi. Lumi immediately paused, slightly confused and pouting adorably on her virtual screen. Eh? Why the sudden interruption, Master? Orion smiled gently, explaining warmly, do 100 draws all at once, and just give me the final results directly. No need to create suspense like last time. Let's do this efficiently. Lumi's virtual image sighed dramatically, clearly disappointed at being denied the theatrics, but she obediently complied. Alright, Master, no suspense it is. Moments later, Lumi's screen flashed rapidly through numerous draws, the exhilarating process happening instantly. Soon afterward, the results appeared clearly displayed before Orion's expectant eyes. Empty, 35. Common, 63. Uncommon, 2. Orion calmly nodded, his expectations grounded and realistic after experiencing the unpredictability of the gacha system. He wasn't disheartened. Instead, he immediately focused his attention on the 2 uncommon grade treasures, curious about their effects and practical uses. Lumi, show me the details of the 2 uncommon grade treasures first, Orion asked with curious tone. Lumi's virtual screen shifted quickly, clearly displaying detailed descriptions of the 2 treasures. Echo Flask, uncommon grade, stores 1 use of any ability witnessed, magical or physical. Limited to once a week. Stormbinder Codex, uncommon grade, comprehensive knowledge regarding the lightning element with spells ranging from Tier 1 to beyond Tier 9. Orion's eyes lit up with happiness reading the item descriptions. These items were truly helpful, especially the Stormbinder Codex, as he had already learned the thunder element and now he could study it in depth. These 2 are excellent finds, Lumi, Orion said happily, his smile reflecting his satisfaction. Now, among the common grade treasures, is there anything particularly interesting or useful worth noting? Lumi took a few moments to sort through the numerous items swiftly before highlighting several promising common grade treasures. Master, among the common grade items, there are a few noteworthy ones. Cleansing Sun Orb, Tier 9, emits a radiant wave that purifies curses, weak corruption, or poison effects in a 10-meter radius. 3 uses. Emerald Leaf Ring, Tier 7, passively accelerates natural healing and stamina recovery by a small amount. Minor Genesis Furnace, Tier 6, miniature mobile forge that allows crafting of Tier 1 to 5 artifacts, accessories, and tools using mana and basic materials. Orion leaned back comfortably against the soft cushions of his bed, his dual-colored eyes filled with intrigue as he continued scanning through the impressive array of common-grade treasures that had appeared from his recent draws. He thoughtfully read each item's description again, murmuring softly to himself in appreciation, these might be labeled as common, but their usefulness is genuinely impressive. Lumi's virtual form bobbed excitedly near him, her digital eyes sparkling with enthusiasm as she nodded eagerly in agreement. Yes, Master. These items have practical value far surpassing their supposed common label. Especially the Cleansing Sun Orb. Its sheer usefulness could put it above some uncommon grade treasures. It must be due to the limited uses. Orion smiled faintly, nodding gently, his gaze shifting to the first of the items mentioned. You're right. This Cleansing Sun Orb is really good, he commented thoughtfully, mentally visualizing scenarios of its use. Its purifying effects against curses, corruption, and poisons make it invaluable for our future explorations. 3 uses might seem limited, but in dangerous scenarios, even one timely usage could mean the difference between life and death. Lumi's bright screen flickered warmly in agreement. Exactly. In any exploration, unforeseen threats like poison traps, hidden curses, or minor corruption from demonic entities are ever present. This orb could neutralize threats instantly, allowing you and your friends to safely run away from otherwise perilous environments. He continued talking about the other two treasures with her before he exhaled contentedly, feeling a sense of anticipation welling within him. After this brief reflection, he decisively straightened his posture, eyes gleaming brightly with determination as he addressed Lumi once again. "Lil Lumi, let's not stop here. Perform 600 draws at once. With our current fortune, I want to see how far we can push our luck." Kya Master is becoming a gambling addict again. Greater than over equal to less than over equal to. Orion shook his head and just said, "Just hurry up." Lumi's virtual Kamaji shook with excited anticipation. 600 draws at once. Master, you're truly going big this time. Hee, let's see what treasures fate has prepared for us. With those playful words, Lumi began the BGM again as Orion watched eagerly. Moments later, a brilliant cascade of shimmering lights filled Lumi's screen, a mesmerizing display that signaled the start of the draws. "Show me the results directly again, Lumi," Orion gently reminded, a small yet eager smile forming upon his lips. "This time, let's hope for some even more remarkable discoveries." Lumi playfully sighed, mock lament clear in her tone. "Ah, still no suspense, Master? Fine. Direct results coming right up." Omega. Orion held his breath as the result came in front of him. Empty, 138. Common, 440. Uncommon, 14. Rare, 7. Epic, 1. Orion's dual-colored eyes widened sharply as the dazzling results flashed across Lumi's display, his heart nearly leaping from his chest in excitement. A broad, triumphant grin spread across his face as he pumped his fist joyously in the air, unable to contain the exhilaration bubbling up inside him. Ha, an epic treasure. Finally. This is incredible. Orion cheered inwardly, his voice echoing lightly throughout the sea of consciousness. Lumi joined his excitement with an enthusiastic squeal, her virtual avatar spinning gleefully on the screen. Yay! Master, congratulations! We hit big this time. Epic rank, let's go. Greater than over equal to less than over equal to asterisk, oh. Orion laughed heartily at her exuberance, shaking his head as he settled himself back down onto the soft cushions of his bed. Indeed, Lumi, it seems fortune has finally smiled upon us. Quickly, show me the epic grade draw first, I absolutely can't wait to see what we've received. Lumi obediently complied, her screen shifting smoothly as it revealed the treasure's description in glowing golden text. Prime Realm's core fragment, epic rank, a fragment of a fallen Prime Realm's origin core, once the heart of an entire world. Still brimming with raw origin force and latent laws, it resonates violently with the small kiliocosm. Misuse may result in total world collapse. Orion's expression immediately turned solemn, excitement mingling with a trace of apprehension. He inhaled deeply as he considered the sheer magnitude and potential danger of the item they'd drawn. Lumi, this, Orion hesitated, voice tinged with wonder. This fragment is literally the heart of a destroyed Prime Realm, something that once sustained an entire world. Its potential and dangers both seem quite high. Lumi nodded solemnly, her usually playful tone shifting to one of caution. Indeed, Master. This is far beyond any treasure we've obtained today. Just taking it out might influence our entire world, especially if it resonates improperly or uncontrollably. We'll need to be extremely careful and research it thoroughly before attempting to use it. Orion slowly nodded, firmly agreeing with her cautious assessment. Yes, this isn't something to experiment with casually. The risks here are enormous. Though it seems like a concentrated glob of energy for now. Lumi lightly chuckled and agreed with him. Anyways, let's set this aside carefully for now and study it further later. He exhaled softly, quickly shifting his excitement toward the remaining draws. Alright, Lumi, let's move on to the rare grade draws next. Show them to me one by one. Lumi immediately brightened, her screen shifting rapidly as she happily presented each rare treasure individually. Time-lost hourglass, rewinds the user's position by 1.5 seconds upon fatal damage. Cooldown, 3 days. Eye of the Fates of Ur, one-time severing of a soul contract, curse, or destiny tether. Dual craft sigil kit, professional toolset for both alchemy and runesmithing. Wood Elves bloodline vial, holds the bloodline of the Wood Elves. Solar Fox Empress undergarments, magical underarmor resisting illusions, boosting charisma, and blocking charm/mind control effects. Juice box of temporary youth, transforms user into their 6-year-old self for 10 minutes. Grants stealth and evasion benefits. Cooldown, 7 days. Mirror of cross-dressing, temporarily swaps target's gender presentation, clothes, voice, aura, for 24 hours. Cooldown, 7 days. Orion's eyebrows climbed progressively higher with each item Lumi listed, his expression alternating between excitement, curiosity, amusement, and disbelief. He took a deep breath and slowly asked, "Lumi, can I remove Seraph's curse using the Fates of Ur?" However, before Lumi could reply, Asterax's voice echoed throughout the SOC. "Don't bother, it will only hurt her. This treasure might be able to lift the curse, but the thing she has lost due to the curse will forever be lost. You need to find the person who put the curse on her to be sure of nothing going wrong. I have thought about her curse during this time and came to this conclusion." Orion paused, before softly exhaling a sigh of disappointment. Fate truly is evil to her. Master, time-lost hourglass seems so good as a final trump card to save your life. And the dual craft kit will greatly assist your future craft studies. Lumi tried her best to continue forward so Orion wouldn't mull over long on Seraph's period. Orion nodded his head and continued looking. The next treasure in line was the Solar Fox Empress undergarments. He coughed, awkwardly clearing his throat. Ahem, looks like Echo wasn't lying when he said there are undergarments here. Well, this one is surprisingly useful too. Illusions and mind control protection are valuable indeed. Lumi teasingly giggled at Orion's reaction. Master, you aren't thinking of wearing it, right? But indeed, they're quite valuable. Orion shook his head in amusement before his gaze settled curiously upon the juice box and mirror. These too, quite peculiar, though potentially handy in unconventional situations. Still, I suppose variety and utility is always welcome. He smiled warmly, feeling deeply pleased at the overall outcome of the draws. Lumi, let's move quickly to the uncommon grade treasures. Anything particularly interesting there? Lumi immediately displayed the highlights. Grimoire of Poison. Grimoire of Water. Grimoire of Metal. Grimoire of Wind. Violin of Sad Exposition. Sassy Salmon Familiar. Zen Tree Sapling. Ironthorn Sword. Stonereef Shield. Cleaver of the Ravager. Orion reviewed the items with growing interest, thoughtfully nodding. These grimoires will significantly enhance my elemental knowledge base. Perfect resources for future spell creation and mastery. The Ironthorn Sword and Stonereef Shield are good enough for magi. The Limitless Haven needs some high-quality stuff to sell. Asteraxa is enough for me. Hearing his words, Asteraxa's alluring voice echoed in his mind. Oh my, someone is getting romantic. He chuckled gently before continuing to read. However, he suddenly paused, eyebrows twitching lightly as he stared at the violin and salmon. Though I must question. Violin of Sad Exposition? And a sassy salmon familiar? These items seem oddly specific. Lumi giggled openly, her tone playful yet enthusiastic. Hee hee. Sometimes, Master, gotcha treasures lean toward entertainment and mood lifting. Imagine you are telling your past and a dramatic sad violin starts playing to accompany your tragic background. Orion raised an eyebrow, thinking deeply about the uses before softly saying, "This is not America's Got Talent. I don't have a tragic background." You can always make stuff up. Anyways, look at the better one now. A salmon familiar who will insult your opponents mid-battle. Orion couldn't suppress a smile, shaking his head at the amusing absurdity. Indeed, perhaps comedy also holds strategic value, morale boosting, or rather shit-talking the opponent. Lumi cheerfully agreed. Exactly, Master. Who knows when you might need a good laugh or unexpected distraction in battle. Orion nodded with a laugh. Alright, show me some interesting stuff from the common grade draws now. Aye. Lumi showed him the common draws. Some had one-time use treasures while there were some special weapons as well as herbs and other materials. Finally, with a satisfied sigh, Orion relaxed deeply into the soft embrace of his bed, the cursed mattress of comfort gently wrapping itself around his tired body. His gaze drifted thoughtfully across the familiar room, now softly illuminated by the tranquil glow of the mana lamp. After the exhilarating high from the massive gacha draw slowly subsided, Orion felt a comforting sense of calm. He closed his eyes momentarily, replaying the entire day's events through his mind, training with his friends, revealing his deepest secrets to his grandparents, and of course, the thrilling results of the gacha draws. A small, content smile formed on his lips as he quietly murmured inwardly, "It was quite a nice day overall." Lumi hovered gently near his head, her usually lively demeanor slightly subdued, reflecting the calm, reflective atmosphere of the evening. "Yes, Master, today was certainly eventful. You really caught everyone off guard with your revelations." Hee, Grandpa Eldrick and Grandma Selene's faces were quite priceless. Orion chuckled softly, his eyes flickering open briefly. Indeed. Though, to be honest, their reactions were far more supportive and understanding than I'd anticipated. It felt incredibly relieving to finally share everything openly. That's true. And your friends took your draconian identity shockingly well, too. Though, Lumi's voice trailed off slightly, her tone playful yet filled with genuine curiosity. Master, I didn't expect that NYSS would be walking two paths like Fiora, practicing both mana and body cultivation. Orion nodded thoughtfully, his gaze drifting upward towards the ornate ceiling, as he murmured in agreement. Yes, that was truly unexpected. I thought Rena and Fiora would be the only ones doing that for quite a while, especially among my friends. Her determination and ambition are far beyond what I initially imagined. Lumi chimed in cheerfully, clearly impressed as she said, even more unexpected was the weapon of her choice. Honestly, I was expecting her to pick something more delicate. Orion chuckled softly, recalling the surprising moment when NYSS had revealed her choice. Yeah, her chosen weapon certainly suits her though, even if I wasn't expecting it. Still, knowing NYSS, perhaps we shouldn't have been so surprised. Lumi giggled mischievously, her tone brimming with curiosity. True. It's as if she's intentionally trying to shock us. Perhaps she's secretly enjoying our reactions? Perhaps. Orion laughed quietly, his smile widening at the amusing thought. But his expression soon turned contemplative again, and he gently redirected the conversation. Anyway, Lumi, today's draws were quite exciting. But in all honesty, we still didn't manage to find a direct solution to repair my damaged sea of consciousness, did we? No, we didn't manage to find anything like that. Equal to or succeeds equal to or precedes. Orion exhaled a long breath. What to do? Lumi's virtual eyes instantly sparkled brightly, excitement radiating from her as she eagerly asked, "More draws, Master? Are you finally becoming a dedicated gacha enthusiast again? Greater than over equal to less than over equal to?" Orion's lips immediately twitched with faint amusement and mild exasperation as he firmly shook his head, resisting her playful temptations. Nah, no point, Lumi. I don't want to repeat the same mistakes I made back when I used to play those gacha games. Gambling uncontrollably is the quickest path to ruin. Especially now when I have use for SP. Lumi's virtual expression shifted instantly into a disappointed pout, her glowing eyes filled with exaggerated sadness. Orion gently shook his head at her dramatics, softly laughing under his breath. He sighed and continued thoughtfully, rather than risking it all on more draws, is there anything in today's draws that could help me significantly increase my strength quickly? Lumi nodded emphatically, her virtual eyes gleaming mischievously as she quickly replied, yes. Of course there is, Master, the Solar Fox Empress's undergarments. You should try them on immediately. Orion's forehead instantly creased with black lines, his eyebrow twitching in annoyance as he dryly retorted, Lil Lumi, be serious, or I swear I'll give you a good beating once I find a way to physically interact with you. Lumi's laughter rang cheerfully in his mind, completely unafraid. Hee hee, good thing I don't have a physical body then. You made that same threat before, Master, remember? Orion sighed helplessly, recalling indeed having had the same conversation before. Right, I suppose empty threats won't work on you anymore. Now, seriously, Lumi. Anything useful at all? Recognizing his serious tone, Lumi immediately quieted down, her virtual expression shifting to thoughtful contemplation. She carefully scanned through the extensive list of new treasures, her voice becoming more analytical and serious. Master, given your current condition, I see two primary paths of immediate improvement. The first is to fuse the Wood Elf bloodline using the physique reconstruction liquid. It has immense potential but also carries unknown risks we haven't thoroughly assessed. And the second path is, of course, learning another elemental affinity using the grimoires we obtained today. Orion released a quiet sigh, acknowledging Lumi's careful analysis. His voice turned reflective as he murmured softly, fusing with the Wood Elf bloodline right now would indeed be too dangerous, especially given the instability in my sea of consciousness. I can't afford unknown variables at this stage. And as for learning additional elements. He paused briefly, his expression slightly conflicted as he continued quietly, while it would definitely enhance my versatility and tactical options, simply learning another element won't drastically increase my raw power or directly fix my current spiritual injuries. Versatility alone isn't enough, I need tangible growth. Lumi fell into thoughtful silence for a moment before gently replying, That's true, Master. Your fundamental issue right now is stabilizing and strengthening your foundation, your sea of consciousness. Unfortunately, none of the draws directly addressed that. Orion nodded slowly, accepting her honest assessment without resentment. His voice was quiet, tinged with mild frustration. Indeed, it seems that no matter how amazing the draws are, luck alone can't solve everything. I suppose this means our next priority should be carefully investigating alternative methods to fix my sea of consciousness. Lumi immediately agreed, determination returning to her cheerful voice. Yes, Master. We can always search for alternative methods. I'm certain we'll find a solution soon. A comforting silence enveloped the room, allowing Orion a moment of quiet reflection. After a short pause, he smiled warmly and said, Thanks, Lumi, it's reassuring to have you all the time. Lumi giggled softly, her voice filled with warmth and affection. Hee hee, I'm always here for you, Master. You can always count on me. The gentle, calming rhythm of their conversation gradually lulled Orion toward the edge of sleep. His breathing deepened, his muscles relaxing fully against the soft embrace of the mattress. Before long, he quietly drifted off into restful slumber, leaving the serene room filled only with the tranquil stillness of the night. Days passed quickly and quietly, filled with steady, productive routines. Each morning brought renewed vigor as Orion and his clubmates diligently continued their training in the mansion's extensive training grounds. The Limitless Ascension field became a daily fixture, dramatically enhancing everyone's rate of improvement and allowing them to rapidly close any gaps in their skills. The group trained rigorously beneath the watchful gaze of Lucan and Edgar, both occasionally offering valuable pointers or sparring matches. Arya, Emilia, Elias, Philira, Kale, and NYSS grew steadily stronger with every passing day, their camaraderie strengthening as their shared dedication deepened their bonds. Midway through the week, Sylvia unexpectedly joined the group's training, bringing a surge of excitement and fresh energy. Her arrival revealed astonishing progress. Her body cultivation had reached the peak of the 6th level, leaving her just a hair's width away from entering the 7th level. Her powerful aura and composed confidence impressed everyone, sparking renewed motivation among the group. You're amazing, Sylvia, Orion warmly praised during their first spar after her arrival, his voice genuine and appreciative as they stood breathing heavily after an intense bout. Your progress has been astonishingly fast. You really left every one of us in the dust with that improvement speed. Sylvia chuckled softly, a graceful smile tugging at her lips as she replied modestly, I still have a long way to go before I can firmly surpass you. You can fight against me on equal grounds despite being a whole level lower than me. Her gaze drifted down towards his hand to see him dual-wielding the swords. And you learned dual-wielding during the time I was gone as well, huh? Orion smiled and didn't bother to reply as they continued sparring. He also inched closer and closer to utilizing 2 sword auras at once on both swords. As the days continued, Orion occasionally attempted more gotcha draws, hoping to stumble upon something that could repair or strengthen his unstable sea of consciousness. Yet despite his best efforts, nothing significant emerged from these attempts. Each draw yielded treasures of value, yet none held the miraculous cure or stabilizing effect Orion truly sought. Though slightly disappointed, Orion understood the futility of relying solely on luck. Instead, he directed his focus back to practical methods of strengthening himself and his friends. Could think of a funny title.